Okay, let's look at section 4.3. We're going to break this down into two videos just to make it a little bit easier to grasp because it's a little bit complicated. That's why we're only covering one section for this class. The first section we're going to look at is Venn diagrams and how we diagram a categorical statement. The second section we'll look at would be the modern square of opposition. Okay, what we've done is we've learned how to write a categorical statement textually. All A are B, no A are B, some A are B, some A are not B, A, E, I, O. Now what we want to do is we learn how to represent it visually. And by doing that we use what we call Venn diagrams. Okay, a Venn diagram begins with two interlocking circles for chapter 4, and chapter 5 we'll use 3, but you'll get the idea. Okay, on the left you'll see A, on the right you'll see B. Two circles interlocking. A is your subject, B is your predicate. Now I will recommend that you always do it this way. And the reason for that is because you want to stay consistent. So as much as possible, there will be times you can't, but as much as possible you always want to put the subject on the left and the predicate on the right. That's how it's written, so when I write it and I draw it, I'm writing it and drawing it in the same format. That to me makes it easier. You can do whatever you choose. The white area that you see here, we're going to break, it's a universe, and we're going to break it into 4 conceptual spaces. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? And so here's what it looks like. This is the area that is A and not B. So this represents all of A but has no representation to B whatsoever. And we call that the Pac-Man. This is the area that's both A and B. We call that the football. This is the area that is B and not A. We call that the Pac-Man. This is the area that's neither A nor B. We will not deal with that in this class, so it's not something that really has to be anything you get too excited about at the moment. There are some rules that we have to look at. There are 3 possibilities for each area. It has membership, has no membership, or we don't have enough information to know whether there's membership or not. So what we have to excuse me, what we have to do with that is we have to make some adjustments. If an area has membership, we mark it with an X. If an area has no membership, we use shading and color it in. If we have no information, we leave it blank. Okay, so we only deal with information. It either has no membership or it has. If there's a membership, it's an X. If there's no membership, it's blank. Okay, so what we have to do is we want to look at how to draw each type, and we want to do it, but we have to reword the statements. And so we'll reword the statements, and we'll give some explanation. Now, you'll also see this illustrated excuse me, on page 210 of your textbook. Okay, you'll want to memorize this, but you don't want to just memorize so that all A or B goes here. You want to understand why A or B, all A or B goes here. Okay, so this means all A or B means the area that is A but not B has no membership. Okay, and so to look at it this way, all A or B means that we would shade the Pac-Man of A. Okay, so what I'd like you to do on a piece of paper, if you have a blank piece of paper, if you draw 2 circles, on the left side where A is, put D. On the right side where B is, put M. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you the statement, all dogs are mammals. All dogs are mammals. Okay, so, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. It's impossible for there to be a dog that's not a mammal. So we know that A is the dog circle, and we know that B is the mammal circle. So all dogs are mammals. So all the dogs that are mammals, which are all the dogs, are going to have to fill this section of A. Which means that because this doesn't interact with the mammal circle, there can be no dogs here. So there's no membership. Right? Do you understand what I mean by that? If there's no dogs in this part, there can't be membership in this part. Okay? So let's look at the next one. No A or B. This means that the area that is A, both A and B, has no membership. Okay? So, oops, let me get the picture up. Sorry about that. So if we change it and say no dogs are cats, if no dogs, if the subject is dogs, that's this circle, and if the subject is cats, is this circle, no dogs are cats would mean that there are no dogs or cats in the football. Okay, and because I'm writing that there is a no here, I don't have to deal with the membership on either side. I'm just shading it that there's no ARB, no dogs or cats. All right. Some ARB means that there's an area that is both A and B have membership. Okay, so both A and B have membership. So let's look at it this way. If the subject is Americans and the predicate is farmers, some Americans are farmers. Okay, so are there Americans who aren't farmers? Yes. But we do have an area that America is a farmer, and we have an area here. So Americans and farmers overlap. So we know that a certain amount of people in the farmer category are Americans. This represents farmers. Doesn't say it's American farmers, just said farmers. So we know that there's farmers in Mexico and Canada, and we know there are farmers in Europe and in Asia, all over the world. And so as a result of that, this represents the farmers that are Americans. Right? So some Americans are farmers. We have Americans over here who aren't farmers. We have farmers over here who aren't Americans. Right? So this is the membership, so we put in an X. Some A are not B means that the area that is A and not B has membership. Okay? So if we draw the circle then, it'd be this area here. So let's write it this way. Some females, so the subject will be females, are not mothers. So the predicate is mothers. So we know that there's a large group of females here who have never given birth or who are not married, who have no children. They haven't adopted, any of those things. Maybe they're too young. Maybe they just never got married, whatever it might be, right? So as a result, we have some females over here who are not mothers. The B circle represents the mothers. So we know that there are all mothers are females, but that's not what we're focused. We're focusing on the females that are not mothers. So this would be the membership from here over. Instead of shading, we put the X. This is the membership that is female but not mothers, right? So we should use an X for membership. Okay, so here's how we summarize. All A or B means that the area that is A and not B has no membership. No A or B means that the area that is both A and B has no membership. Some A or B means that the area that is both A and B has membership. Some A or not B means the area that is both A and not B has membership. Okay, so now if we substitute terms, we can diagram in situations which A or B and B are reversed, or we are using term complements, which we'll talk about later on, non-A and a non-B. Okay? Consider it this way, all B are A. It means that the area that is B and not A has no membership, and so we would diagram it this way. Once again, understanding if all A are B, okay, all B are not, or all B are A is obviously just going to be switched. But I didn't change, I could flip the circles and put B on left and A on the right, but sometimes it isn't convenient because the circle's already there, right? And so as a result of that, you have to learn to be able to switch that in your mind, even though it may not be necessary, okay? Now consider no non-A are B. It means that the area that is non-A and B has no membership. So we diagram it like this. The area that is non-A and B, okay, so this is the B area and it's a non-A area, okay, it has membership. So if this is confusing you, bring your questions to class, we'll talk about it. Then we need to look at the Aristotelian or traditional standpoint, okay. The Aristotelian says that something has to exist. The difference between what we're going to see in the next section of Boolean and Aristotelian is that Boolean doesn't deal with existence. Aristotelian deals with existence. Okay, and so we have to keep those in mind. Okay, the Aristotelian standpoint can be used under the following conditions. A circle is shaded in all areas but one. Okay, so and this really comes into play in three circle diagrams. The concept that the circle represents is known to have membership. Okay, so keeping that in mind, all areas but one have been shaded and the concept that the circle represents is known to have membership. So in such a case, then a circled X is put in the unshaded area of the circle. Since dogs are known to exist, all dogs are mammals would look like this. Okay, so now we talked about that at the beginning, right? That was our first illustration, all dogs are mammals. Okay, so notice what it's saying here. We know that none of these are dogs, that's why it's shaded. But we know that all dogs are mammals, and we do know that dogs do exist. So therefore, the circle X proves the existence of dogs. Right? So keep that in mind. It's just, once again, just trying to put together a lot of information. The homework will help you, but we'll go over it in class, so don't panic. Okay? Since space aliens are not generally known to exist, you could not use the circle X for all space aliens or extraterrestrial beings. So it would look like this. Okay? Once again, we can't, how do I want to say this? All space aliens are extraterrestrial beings. So all S are E. Now we know that we would, normally this is how it would be drawn. But now the question is, with Aristotelian, is there existence? Okay, we have to prove existence. Do space aliens exist? We don't know 100% for sure. At this point, we're going to have to say no. So therefore, because of uncertainty, we leave it unmarked because we don't have enough information regarding membership. Okay. Finally, remember that you only need to worry about using the Aristotelian perspective if you have universal premises and a particular conclusion. And we will drill this into you throughout the semester, so don't panic about it yet, but this is a rule that you will need to understand, and you'll probably need to understand as you do your homework for this section. Now, don't forget you have to watch the one on the modern square of opposition, and it will be posted on here as well.